Hello, everybody. It's Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario on December 29th, almost the end of the year. And got me thinking, it's been kind of a shitty year. It hasn't been that good. It started with Trudeau leaving. Everybody thought, oh, it's now that Trudeau's gone, things are going to get better in Canada. And I haven't seen them gotten better at all. My grocery bill's huge. I went to Walmart the other day. I felt like I was in India. Saturday nights are rocking at the Walmart. And we got a whole, they're closer to a majority now, the Liberals, like one seat away. And we got a whole slew of new speech laws, like anti-free speech laws coming our way. So yeah, it hasn't been that great a year at all for 2025. Hopefully 2026 is better. Hopefully. But it seems like there's there's not much hope to go back to the way things were in the 90s and the 80s. I mean, where people could have a job and not slave away to make their rent and grocery bill. And the more things get messed up, it's going to be harder to go back to that liberal representative democracy where the middle class did well. You know, I mean, things weren't perfect, but you could afford a place to live and you could afford groceries. It's pretty good for a peasant, like compared to what the peasants went through over the centuries. It was a pretty good deal. But the more things get screwed up in Canada and the US and Australia and Western Europe, and Europe, I mean, the harder it'll be to go back. And then what are the alternatives sometimes developing? It's either a globalist digital ID surveillance state, AI powered surveillance state, or on the other side, a surge of nationalist, like the surge in Western countries of nationalism and like ultra-nationalism, where they're going to kick out all these foreigners forcefully, let's say, if necessary. Like, I guess they're doing that with deportations and that. So, like, you have either road. There's no going back to the other one, it seems. It feels like, that's what it feels like to me, at least. And, yeah, we'll see which one gets taken. But really, ultimately, it's up to the Gen Z, I guess that's what they call them, the 35s and under. They're going to decide which way it goes. Do you go for the digital security state controlled by the globalist and the digital cash and all that? So basically, that's kind of a crazy direction to go in. Then, or do you go to the nationalist, ultra-nationalist, or whatever, I don't know. I mean, when, like a basically strong man kind of government to fix the mess that's occurred over the last few decades, the mess of Western society unraveling. Like, it doesn't seem like you could just reset it to the 90s, where I think it started to deteriorate in the 90s. You could feel it was the end of the good times. So, but we'll see what trajectory we go on. It seems like it's gonna be a bumpy road. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be smooth sailing. Hopefully it is. You never know. But this happens every so often. So that's what we'll look at in the new year. What the hell happens to Canada? Because I don't think this situation can go on too much longer where we pretend that this liberal democracy is working. The Alberta thing's interesting. The Alberta independence, who knows? That's going to be a big story this year, I think. And the Quebec thing, Quebec separation. So let's look here on my day. I took a little bit of a Christmas break because it's kind of slow news cycle during Christmas, and I was basically saying the same shit every night. So I was like, you know what? It's Christmas. Take a break. But it's a lot of crazy stuff gearing up. Here's this one. Australia is interesting. I know it's on the other side of the world, but it's very similar to Canada's situation. It was on the COVID and it is on the immigration. Man from Queensland received a visit from police who wanted to speak with him about his social media posts. He simply told him, "I got right to freedom of speech, bugger off. Learn your rights because that's what they're doing. Because what they're doing amounts to bullying and unlawfully silencing people." So, let's see if I have this.
Somebody knocking loud on the door. Who's that? Who's that?
Just the police, mate. How you going?
Good. What's your problem?
Oh, I don't have a problem. I just want to speak to Michael. Is that you?
Yeah, why?
I just want to come and speak to you about a few things it's come to attention that may have been posted on social
Well,
media.
I really don't care. I've got the right to freedom of speech. You can bugger off.
Absolutely.
Bugger off.
Okay? See ya.
Okay, mate.
So, that's in Australia, and that's kind of what's going on in UK and in Germany, where you get a visit from the police for some dumb post that you put on. It's basically, they deem hateful, but it's really just saying, hey, I don't agree with what the government's doing. So they send cops to your door. And now it's happening in Australia. Hasn't happened in Canada. Maybe it has in extreme cases, but for the most part hasn't happened here. So if they start doing that, I can see them starting to do it. So, Australia. Here's a horrible Brampton story. The Brampton man strikes again. This guy's got a rap sheet, a huge rap sheet. And we're the only country dumb enough to keep him here. Anywhere else, they would have got deported him. So he's facing multiple criminal charges. Excuse me. Following the alleged theft of a semi-trailer truck and a subsequent police pursuit. Ooh, that's pretty bad. So he stole a semi-truck, but also he didn't stop for the cost, but also, this is the crazy part. He's under Canada-wide suspension for driving. He's 43 convictions, accumulated 43 convictions since 2017, including 35 criminal code offenses and 8 under the Provincial Offence Act. Okay, so basically, this dude, Brampton man, what's his name? Nirmal Singh. It's a Singh. I'm shocked. How many Singhs are there? Like, it's a crazy. It's probably like the most common name in the world now, Singh. Man, 5 lifetime driving prohibitions, charged again. Like, how's that possible? I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, only in Canada is that possible. So, whatever. It's crazy because in countries like in Korea, if you have like even like a little joint, they'll deport you like next week. Here, you can get away with this. This is crazy. Okay, next, Pascal Engelhardt. This is, I like this post because it kind of says what I kind of represents how I feel about the whole thing. This angle of the immigration debate. Criticizing Muslims doesn't mean I support Jews. Criticizing Jews doesn't mean I support Muslims. I'm tired of having to repeat this. I support Canada. Neither of these religions has Canada's best interests in mind. Yeah, I agree. Like, they want us to get involved. Like, they're bringing this whatever war that they got going on to Canada, and we don't want to take any sides. Like, as if you're a Canadian nationalist, you just want them to settle their differences elsewhere. So I thought that was good. This is a lot of the theme going on X is about the anti-white campaign that's been going on for decades, and it's because Elon Musk has been talking about it, so it gets more hits on X, I guess, if Elon talks about it all the time. So here's a good one. Here's a Jewish actor and an Israeli Jew saying that mass immigration in the West is good for Jews because everyone will soon be so mixed up no one will know who to hate. Yeah, so that seems like to be the plan. It's like, let's import as many millions of people from around the world into Canada. So anyway, let them say it.
Yes, it's going to take... It's a kind of utopia, just the fact that the whole world will mix up with each other, that in, I don't know, 70, 80 years, there will be no white people anymore and only cappuccino-colored people.
Look, that's cappuccino colored.
This
is the only solution. My way of thinking,
mix up,
it's our only hope, is our way out of this.
Yes.
It's going to take some time, but it's really the only way. This sort of Singaporean model where everybody's so mixed up that you really don't know who to hate because everybody's so hopelessly intertwined.
Maybe we should go out 100 people with Nazi uniforms and walk through the city. Maybe this kind of actions will just make the people remind on the time and what our grandfathers did wrong.
They keep bringing up the Nazi thing just to make you feel guilty about being a nationalist. They call you they call you Nazi if you want to be a nationalist. So basically, what the Nazis own the right to nationalism, like you can't ever be a nationalist unless you're a Nazi. And they keep saying that. Here's Andy Lee. It's interesting. She does a lot of stuff showing the government spending millions of dollars on all these programs and groups that basically they're just stealing all the money. And it's interesting because they did some guy in Minnesota did a bunch of exposés on the Somalians stealing all the money. And it's raised questions of how bad is it in Canada for this, basically buying votes of the Somalians in exchange for all this money. So it says, we found another headquarters for the Canadian Climate Institute at 192 Spadina. Charity received $30 million from the federal government, yet CRA filings show $0 allocated to charity work. $30 million. That's a lot. Who knows how many millions they're stealing? No wonder Alberta wants to separate. That's probably just the tip of the iceberg. We're giving billions of dollars to Ukraine too, to other countries all over the world. No wonder Alberta wants to separate. They'll probably won't be much better though. A group running trucking companies that stole millions in cargo and sold them in the black market was busted in California. You notice anything in common with these parasites? 12 accused in Singh organization scheme to pose as legitimate trucking companies to steal millions in cargo. So it's all Singhs basically that have been arrested. And this is in California, but you know this is going on here in Canada and Ontario. All sorts of criminal activity. Let's import this. Why not? And it's only going to get worse unless you fix it. They say they're doing deportations. But basically they're saying, I can't remember how many deportations they did, like 20,000. They said at that rate it'll take like 200 years to deport the people whose visas are expiring or who are here illegally. So yeah, it's basically just whatever, window dressing the deportations. They need to be much bigger. But like, this is what we're importing into Canada. All these criminals. Criminals, criminals, criminals. Sing, 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 sing. Holy. Next one, a little closer to home. That was in California. This one's in, where is it? Brampton. This is crazy. International student Jagdeep Singh was arrested after following a woman home with a fake gun and a backpack containing rope, rolls of tape, gloves, and knives. Singh awaits bail while the police figure out what school project he was working on at 1 a.m. on a Saturday night. Let's see this.
Brampton, 20-year-old Jagdeep Singh.
It's another Singh.
Man has been arrested after allegedly approaching a victim with a gun in Brampton. 20-year-old Jagdeep Singh is facing 2 charges, including possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. Investigators say Singh approached the victim around 1 a.m. Saturday near Chinguacousy and Drinkwater Roads, north of Steeles, just after the victim got off a bus.
That's
the
crazy.
Victim called police,
Look
and
at that.
officers found the suspect a short distance away. They say the suspect threw an imitation firearm into a snowbank before being arrested. When taken into custody, he was carrying a backpack containing rope, rolls of tape, gloves, and 2 knives.
That's crazy. So, like, we're definitely governed by globalist traders running Canada. They think it's a great idea to import more aspiring rapists from India. I mean, we do have our Paul Bernardos here, but we don't need to import more. It's crazy. It just never ends. It's only going to get worse, too. Okay. Here's the thing. This is kind of bugs me. Is this Palestinian protest that was in the Eaton Center during the whatever the hell they were doing, some Christmas thing. It's a nuisance, yes. It's annoying, yes. But it's more of I think a policing issue, and people, they're acting like it's like a second Holocaust that these Palestinian protesters were in the mall. And I believe they do this, not just with the mall protests, but with all the Palestinian protests. They want us to think it's a huge problem for Canada. It's not a huge problem for Canada. It's a huge problem for people in downtown Toronto, maybe, who don't want to listen to them, and for the Jewish community, like the Zionist part especially, that they can't stand these guys. I get it. But overall, it's literally a little nuisance to the whole country of Canada. But they want you to focus on these Palestinian protesters and say, oh, look, this is what's wrong with the immigration. Basically focus just on this, and then ignore the millions of Indians and Africans being flooded into Canada. So it's kind of like it's a bait and switch. I don't like it, because this is a policing issue. If the Toronto police wanted to stop these guys from doing this stuff, they could easily. So it has nothing to do with Canada and mass immigration. It has something to do with, woke politicians and police that aren't doing their job, or who are been ordered not to do it. So yeah, they want you to focus on this instead of the real problem. Because the same people that are bitching about the Palestinian protesters are the same ones that want to bring millions of Indians into Canada. So kind of doesn't make... It's not the right priorities. Obviously, we don't want this happening, but like I said, this is happening in a very, very small part of Canada. Like a few blocks, literally. While millions of Indians are taking over cities all over the country. So yeah, I'm not that worried about Palestinian protesters. All right, next one. This is a Ukrainian thing. Carney gave another $2.5 billion to Ukraine the other day. And while we're this is amid all these corruption scandals and stuff going on over there. I mean, which was well known before even all this started. And then this video is kind of circulating around as a Ukraine ski resort. So all the well-to-do Ukrainians are still skiing, even though they're begging for money to keep the war going. Yeah, horrible. I can't believe we're so screwed as a country, yet we're giving all this money to Ukraine to literally be blown up. That's literally, or be stolen. Blown up or stolen. All right. Next. This is what we're going to expect in 2026 in Canada. Europe's a little ahead of us. Hate crime laws are anti-white racism. Almost no one gets convicted for attacking white people. Excuse me. So when you hear a politician talk about hate speech, it's really about this. Yeah. And you've seen it in Australia too, when the ISIS dudes shot up the beach. Who do they go after? The white nationalists. So whenever they say hate speech, you know it's what it's for. It's to silence Canadians and Americans that are trying to protect their country from getting destroyed. All right. So yeah, hate speech. That'll be the buzzwords for 2026 in Canada. Okay. This is another story. Like every day there's a story. There's a different story and you think, okay, they can't get into anything else. But here, 28 driving schools in Toronto have had their licenses revoked by the Ontario government. In Toronto. Just in Toronto. I see so many driving schools now. And who knows how many, like, I guess they're training newcomers how to drive because they've never driven. But it doesn't say who got their license revoked, so we just have to assume they're Indians. They could not be, man, you never know. All right. This is the Green Bay's mayor. Don't forget, just 2 weeks ago, Mayor Genrich, Green Bay's anti-white mayor, went on record saying, Somali community, refugee community, the immigrant community represent the best of who we are. Let's see what he says here.
In Shrabanan, that insulted. I'm just really proud to be an ally. I feel privileged to be able to stand with our Somali community during this difficult time. As Saeed said, the Somali community, the refugee community, the immigrant community represent the best of who we are as Green Bay residents, but also as...
Anyway, you see politicians like this, but there's so many people around, in Sarnia too, who are willing to give the country up. Either they want to give it up to Somalians or Indians or whoever the hell, they want to give it up, or they're just so afraid to be called racist that they don't want to say anything, and they just want to like show how not racist they are by giving the country up. It's crazy, and hopefully they'll still be hired by their new overlords, but they won't be. Lots of weak and pathetic guys like that. Oh, big problem. Okay. What's this guy saying?
As a kid, since I was a child, all right, let me get this straight. So I'm an American, I'm born here, I'm raised here, I fight for this country, I stand up for this country, I speak the language. I was indoctrinated as a kid. Since I was a child, being told, I'm the problem because I'm a white. I'm the problem because I'm a man. I'm the problem because I'm straight. I'm losing work. I'm getting fired for not getting a forced vaccine. I fight for that. I'm called a far-right extremist, terrorist. I lose friends. I lose family. I lose money. I get fired for being white. Yes, I have the receipts. emails, tape recordings saying, we don't want you because you're white. It's really not a good look right now. But you can be an illegal immigrant, sneak over the border, come into this country, start fake daycares in Minnesota, fake healthcare companies, get millions, if not billions of dollars funded by the taxpayers. You don't have to speak the language. You can hate America. You can hate white people, and you get off scot-fucking-free. Enough of this bullshit. Enough. You either stand up for it, or we're going to lose our goddamn country. You know George Washington started a war because they taxed his tea 3%. People running out into a field in the middle of the winter, no coats, no shoes, getting cannons, bodies blown off, heads ripped off, friends, brothers dying. All the fight for the freedom of this country and lower taxes. It's enough. Enough. Also, I am starting a daycare in Minnesota, and I'm just raising money. I'm trying to raise $5 million by tomorrow morning, for these kids. The kids are going to die if they don't have a place. It's cold out, so they need the daycare. And so that's what I'm working on now. And you can go to my website, tylerfisher.com. Is very important. Okay, thank you very much. No more questions. No, sorry. No.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, they're getting millions of dollars for no daycares. Fake daycares in Minnesota. But the guy's frustrated, and I think he represents a lot of frustration because we said about either it's going to be a nationalist uprising or a digital surveillance state. And like what they have to do if they want to do the digital surveillance state is they have to get guys like this off the board. And there's like millions of guys. So it'll be interesting how it turns out. But yeah, they're literally giving millions to all these new people and letting us rot, I guess. And here, this is going to be interesting too, is Alberta separation, especially with the Liberals just totally not meeting any of their needs or demands for like pipelines, whatever. It's not going to happen with the Liberals. So it's going to be crazy if they both, Quebec and Alberta, have referendums at the same time. Like, it's going to be insane. They think in 2026 there will be a referendum on Alberta independence. Voting no will only doom Albertans to another century of abuse. Vote yes to independence. I've been seeing a lot of this on the X today. And who knows what the CIA is getting in, doing like in it, because I'm sure they would love to have Alberta as a oil supplier instead of part of Canada. But it'll be interesting. The referendum, it's not guaranteed to pass. Like, you got like there's gonna be a lot of money and a lot of, especially the immigrant vote is gonna vote against separation. So it's gonna be interesting, tough. It would be really tough, I think, for them to win. But independence movements are never easy, I guess. There's an old cartoon from 100 years ago about how the eastern bastards are milking the Alberta cow. I guess some things don't change. Okay, there's Carney again with Zelensky, who flew in the other day. Basically 2-hour visit for his plane to refuel. So Carney runs down from Ottawa to Halifax just to meet the guy and give him $2.5 billion. Because he's a globalist. He wants this globalist war to keep going. That's another thing, 2026. Hopefully it'll bring an end to this war, but I don't think it will. Okay. This is crazy. Another Australia story. New South Wales. So basically, this is after the attack in Bondi Beach, and some dude was on the beach, and he had tattoos on him, and I guess they had Nazi symbols or potential Nazi symbols on him, and so some dude called the cops. And this dude here, and they tracked him down. He's like 300 kilometers away, his house, and they tracked him down and charged him. So that's Australia. You can't instead of getting, stopping mass migration, bringing criminals and terrorists into your country, they're going after dudes with tattoos.
He's now charged with 2 offences.
This is Australia.
Has been arrested after allegedly flaunting Nazi tattoos at a busy Newcastle beach on Christmas Eve. If found guilty, the 36-year-old could face up to a year behind bars.
A towel in hand with kids in tow, a family trip to Bar Beach in Newcastle on Christmas Eve has landed 36-year-old Andrew Laurent in hot water. Behind this blur, alleged Nazi hate symbols, SS bolts and the words white power tattooed on his calf.
Self-evidently ridiculous that it would be illegal to put a Nazi symbol on a bedsheet, but you can put it on your body.
Ben Parsons spotted the tattoos, allegedly linked to white supremacist ideology.
I thought it was shocking, pretty offensive, especially 9 days after we've just had the largest terrorist attack on Australian soil.
Ben reported the alleged racist body ink to police. 3 days later, Mr Laurent was arrested at a home in Urunga, south of Coffs Harbour. He's now charged with 2 offences related to displaying Nazi symbols and faces up to 12 months behind bars, as well as a fine up to $11,000.
At the moment, I think we all need to be the best Australians we can be and have
Look at this little
solidarity
rat.
and unity and stand together in erasing racism and erasing fascism.
It was only 3 years ago the New South Wales Parliament passed laws making the public display of Nazi symbols a criminal offence.
There's no place for it. As far as people who are propagating that or responsible for tattooing it, they should be ashamed of themselves. We're going to do everything we can to stamp out hate in our community.
Madison Scott, 9 News.
All right. Regardless of what you think of the Nazi tattoos, speaking of Nazi tattoos, like half the Ukrainian army has Nazi tattoos, but we're sending them billions of dollars. And this dude is walking around the beach, and they're going after him after a terrorist attack that killed 15 people from ISIS. They're going after this dude who's just going on the beach with his family. So that's going to be their priority. It's messed up priorities. Australia's got really big. We're probably not far behind Australia here in Canada. Okay, next point. Elon Musk here. People afraid of looking racist is a bigger problem than actual racism in modern America. Yeah, Canada too. And Elon Musk says, bingo. A lot of these people, they're so afraid. They're so afraid. All right. Here. Another post on Alberta. Independence. I made this image simple enough for even federalists to understand. The only people whose permission is required for Alberta's independence reside within the red zone. They get 1 vote per citizen, no matter which race. We aren't asking anybody else, and we don't need to. Yeah, see how the immigrant population votes for Alberta independence or not. They'll be very angry if they lose the vote. If it's a narrow loss in Alberta against independence, if it's the no forces win narrowly, and it's because of the immigrant vote, and like Jacques Parizeau said in Quebec, the last Quebec referendum, the money in the ethnic vote is what won it for the Federalists. So I wonder if that'll happen in Alberta. All right. Here's another Elon Musk thing. He's been going on he's been calling out the anti-white racism that's been going on for years. He's been calling it out lately. It's weird. I mean, it's good, but it's kind of weird. It turns out importing tens of millions of foreigners and using our schools to teach their children that the American people are oppressors was a really bad idea. He says suicidal. Tens of millions of foreigners. States is having the same problem as us. Their people are starting to get fed up with it. All right. That's the guy here. Here's the Australian dude who reported the guy with the tattoo. And I said guys like that, white dudes like that, who are so eager to call the cops on their fellow citizens, are the reason Western countries have been destroyed. It's not the immigrants. The immigrants are just doing the rational thing by taking the opportunities that are given to them. It's our trader leaders and the guys, these beta male guys who are so eager to bend over and give the country away. I don't know why, if they're afraid of being called racist or if they actually want to be dominated. I don't know. Or they're just brainwashed. But our trader leaders are the ones supported by these dudes that I'm upset with. The immigrants, they're just using the process available to them. We can deport them still, though. Take that process away. All right. Here's a clipping of driving in India. I saw that, and I was like, because there's so many accidents here, you people, like carnage on the roads. That would explain it when you bring those kinds of drivers, I guess. All right. Here's another thing on the temporary foreign workers. We got to do something about these temporary foreign workers, let's say. Made up 2% of the population in 2017. In 2024, they make up 7.5% of the Canadian population, not including students with expired visas. So over 10%, when over 10% of the Canadian population has overstayed their welcome, you know it's an intentional act by our federal government. With one-click citizenship ceremonies over Zoom, the Liberal government could quickly grant mass citizenship to applicants living in Alberta, Quebec, and Saskatchewan to snuff out any separation movement. It happened in Quebec in 95, it can happen again. I wouldn't doubt it. They're going to do whatever they can to stop the independence vote. I think that'll be a huge story this year. And I guess they're saying Saskatchewan has got a little separatist movement going too. And like I said, these things will be very difficult to pull off. But it's not impossible, but it's not going to be easy. So it'll be very fascinating to watch how it unfolds, because we're in Ontario. I don't know what's going on in Alberta day to day, but that'll be a very big story, especially with the way the Liberals are destroying Canada. Just gives them every motivation to vote yes for independence. So yeah, will 2026 be the year Canada unravels completely? That's going to be the question. With all these separatist movements, all these foreign invaders, the U.S. trade war. Yeah, this 26 will be a make or break year for Canada. It should be very interesting. So, next broadcast will be tomorrow, December 30th. Last broadcast of the year. And we'll talk about more of the year ahead and see what happens. See what happens in 2026. So until then, have a nice night.